Your life is disappearing in real time, and most people don't even notice until it's too late. There comes a moment in every person's life when time stops feeling limitless and starts feeling like a countdown. You can sense it if you slow down long enough, the quiet pressure, the subtle urgency, the awareness that every day you delay is a day you don't get back. And the truth, the raw truth most people avoid, is that time is the only resource you can never replenish. You can rebuild money. You can rebuild relationships. You can rebuild health to a degree, but you will never rebuild yesterday. And when you finally understand that, not intellectually, but emotionally, viscerally, it forces you to confront the way you've been living. This is the wake-up call most people keep hitting snooze on, because it's uncomfortable, because it demands ownership, because once you admit you're wasting time, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. You can't hide behind someday. You can't hide behind the stories you tell yourself to feel safe while staying stuck. Time doesn't care about your comfort. It keeps moving. It keeps counting. It keeps subtracting what you never used. And if you look closely at the people who achieve extraordinary lives, you'll notice something powerful. They treat time as if it were sacred. They don't wait for permission. They don't wait for motivation. They don't sit around hoping for the perfect day. They act. They commit, they move, they show up even when they don't feel like it, because they understand that success isn't built on talent alone. It's built on valuing each minute like it matters, because it does. When you disrespect your time, you disrespect your potential. You tell life you're not ready. You tell opportunity to check back later, and eventually it stops knocking. But when you honor your time, everything begins to shift. You think differently, you walk differently, you make decisions with intention. You stop tolerating distractions, energy drainers, and emotional noise. You start designing your life instead of reacting to it. This is the moment to stop pretending you have forever. This is the moment to stop waiting for the right time, because nothing changes until you decide your time matters and you act like it. And once you claim that truth, the transformation begins. In the next section, we go deeper into what actually steals your time and how to eliminate it before it steals your future. The invisible thieves of your time. There's a force quietly draining your life, and most people don't even recognize it until years have disappeared. It's not just procrastination. It's not laziness. It's not lack of opportunity. The real thieves of your time are subtle, disguised, familiar, and they operate in the background of your daily life like silent viruses. They're the patterns you repeat without noticing, the behaviors you justify because everyone does it, the excuses that feel logical but cost you everything. One of the biggest thieves is distraction disguised as productivity. You stay busy but not effective. You scroll to take a break and suddenly your focus is gone. You overthink decisions that should take 2 minutes. You entertain thoughts that drain energy instead of building momentum. You respond to every notification as if it were an emergency. All of these seem harmless moment by moment, but they accumulate into hours, days, months of lost potential. The tragedy is that most people don't realize they've been hijacked. Another thief is emotional hesitation. That tiny pause before taking action, that moment of doubt becomes a doorway to delay. And delay, repeated enough, becomes a lifestyle. You start rehearsing the same fears. You start repeating the same limiting thoughts. You start choosing comfort over courage. And suddenly you're not just wasting time, you're wasting your life. Then comes people who drain your energy, not because they're bad, but because you've allowed their chaos, their negativity, their stories of limitation to influence your own direction. Your time reflects the environment you allow. If your circle normalizes mediocrity, you start normalizing mediocrity. If your circle normalizes excuses, you start believing excuses. And if your circle normalizes wasting time, then wasting time feels natural, until it costs you opportunities you never even realized you missed. And perhaps the most dangerous thief is the belief that you still have plenty of time. This belief makes you passive. It makes you tolerate things you should walk away from. It makes you delay things you should commit to. It makes you wait for signs instead of creating direction. When you live as if time is unlimited, you live without urgency. And without urgency, nothing truly significant gets built. Here's the truth. Once you see the thieves, you can stop them. Once you identify what steals your minutes, you can reclaim your hours. And once you reclaim your hours, you reclaim your life. In the next section, we shift from awareness to weaponry. How to take control of time with habits that create unstoppable momentum. The moment you decide your time matters, there's a turning point in every person's life. A moment when they stop drifting, stop wasting, stop surrendering their hours to things that don't matter. It's the moment they finally decide that their time isn't cheap. And this moment isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's not marked by fireworks or applause. It happens in silence, the kind of silence where your soul finally gets honest with you, because before your life changes, your standards must change. And before your standards change, your relationship with time must change. You can't create an extraordinary life with ordinary respect for your minutes. You can't reach your highest potential while treating your days like they're disposable. And you can't step into the future you deserve if you're still negotiating your energy with distractions, excuses, and emotional hesitation. This moment of decision is not emotional, it's structural. It's the moment you realize that time is not something you manage, it's something you protect. It's the foundation of discipline. It's the currency of greatness. It's the one resource you can never earn back once it's spent, and you begin to treat it accordingly. In this moment, something inside you shifts. You become less tolerant of chaos. You become less available to nonsense. You become allergic to environments that waste your focus. You stop entertaining habits that sabotage your clarity. You start making decisions not based on what feels easy, but on what moves you forward. You begin to evaluate everything. Every task, relationship, thought, and commitment through one simple filter. Does this bring me closer to who I want to become, or does it pull me further away? And when you start filtering your life through that lens, something remarkable happens. Your confidence rises because you're no longer betraying your own potential. Your discipline strengthens because you're no longer negotiating with excuses. Your energy multiplies because you're not leaking it in 1,000 directions. Your focus sharpens because you're no longer distracted by what you've outgrown. This decision becomes the invisible line between who you were and who you are becoming. It becomes the moment you stop living accidentally and start living intentionally. It becomes the moment your future starts to accelerate. And here's the beauty. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need a powerful decision. A decision that your time matters, your life matters, and your future is worth protecting. In the next section, we dive deeper into the architecture of discipline, the structure that turns your decision into daily action. The architecture of discipline. Discipline isn't punishment. It isn't restriction. It isn't self-denial. It's the architecture of a life that actually works. It's the structure that protects your energy, your ambition, your goals, and your future from the chaos of distraction and the seduction of comfort. Most people think discipline is about forcing themselves to do things they don't want to do but real. Discipline is the opposite. It's about training yourself to want the things that strengthen you more than the things that weaken you. Every successful person you admire has this architecture, not because they were born with it, but because they built it, brick by brick, choice by choice, day after day. Discipline is not an event, it's a system. And the system begins the moment you stop treating your emotions like the deciding factor in your life. When you're governed by how you feel, you waste time. When you're governed by what you've committed to, you build momentum. Discipline begins with clarity. You can't stay committed to what's blurry. When your vision is scattered, your actions are scattered. When your priorities are unclear, your schedule becomes cluttered with meaningless activity. So discipline starts with defining what matters. What are you building? What are you protecting? What are you no longer willing to tolerate? Without the answers to those questions, discipline has nothing to stand on. Next comes structure, the routines, habits, and boundaries that turn your priorities into reality. And this structure isn't meant to trap you, it's meant to free you. Free you from overthinking, free you from chaos, free you from wasting hours trying to feel ready. When your days are structured, your mind is freed from decision fatigue. You stop negotiating with yourself and start executing. But even the best structure needs reinforcement. And that reinforcement comes from standards. You must have standards for what you accept, what you pursue, and what you allow into your mental, emotional, and physical space. Every time you honor your standards, you reinforce the architecture. Every time you break them, you weaken it. Discipline is built through consistency, not intensity. It's built through the small choices repeated over time, the quiet victories that no one sees but everyone eventually feels. And the most powerful part of this architecture is that once it's built, it becomes automatic. You no longer waste time battling your old habits because your new habits lead the way. In the next section, we explore the emotional mastery required to stop letting feelings sabotage your time, your discipline, and your destiny. Emotional mastery, stop letting feelings steal your future. Every wasted hour in your life, every missed opportunity, every pattern of hesitation, They all trace back to one root: emotions left unmanaged. People lose years not because they lack dreams, but because they let fear, doubt, boredom, stress, or insecurity make decisions for them. When emotions lead, your future bleeds. When emotions govern your actions, your time becomes collateral damage. The truth is simple and brutal. Your feelings don't care about your future. They care about comfort. They care about safety. They care about sameness. They care about avoiding discomfort at all costs. And if you let emotions dictate your choices, you will always choose what's easy over what's necessary. You will always choose the familiar over the meaningful. And you will always choose protection over progression. Emotional mastery is not about ignoring emotions. It's about training them. It's about recognizing that emotions are signals, not commands. You can feel fear and still act. You can feel resistance and still move. You can feel unmotivated and still execute. The difference between people who waste time and people who dominate life is not the presence of negative emotions, it's their response to them. Every breakthrough requires emotional discomfort. Growth demands it. Transformation demands it. Discipline demands it. You cannot build a stronger life with the same emotional patterns that built your weaker one. When you act only when you feel good, you sabotage consistency. When you act regardless of how you feel, you take control. The first step of emotional mastery is awareness. Notice the emotional cues that trigger delay. Notice the feelings that shut down your momentum. Notice the internal stories that convince you to wait, pause, or step back. Once you see the pattern, you can interrupt it. The second step is identity. You must adopt the identity of someone who takes action anyway, someone who moves through fear, someone who chooses commitment over comfort, someone who values their future more than their temporary feelings. Identity drives behavior far more powerfully than motivation ever will. And the third step is repetition. Emotional mastery is built like muscle, through practice. You override hesitation enough times, and hesitation starts losing its power. You take action enough times, and action becomes your default state. When emotions stop leading your decisions, your time stops being wasted. Your life becomes intentional. Your future becomes yours again. In the next section, we dive into the power of eliminating distractions, the silent force that steals more time than anything else in your life. Eliminating distractions, taking back the hours you never knew you lost. Distraction is the modern epidemic no one takes seriously enough because it doesn't destroy your life in one blow. It destroys it in minutes. Tiny, harmless moments that, when stacked, become months of lost focus, lost progress, and lost potential. Distraction doesn't announce itself. It creeps, it seduces, it pretends to be rest when it's actually escape. And the people who don't recognize it are the ones who quietly surrender years without ever realizing what happened. Today's distractions are engineered to outsmart you. They're designed to hijack your attention, reward impulsivity, and pull your mind into 1,000 directions. Your brain wasn't built for that. Your discipline wasn't built for that. Your dreams weren't built for that. If you don't defend your attention, you will lose it, not occasionally, but repeatedly, until you forget what focus even feels like. The truth is brutal. You cannot build a powerful life with a distracted mind. You cannot create momentum when your attention is divided. You cannot stay committed when your environment constantly pulls you away from what matters. If your phone has more control over your life than your purpose does, you're not living, you're reacting. And a reactive life is a wasted life. Eliminating distractions is not about removing everything you enjoy. It's about removing everything that removes you from the path you've committed to. It's about building an environment that supports your goals instead of sabotaging them. It's about recognizing the difference between intentional rest and impulsive escape. Start by identifying your distraction triggers. What steals your focus the fastest? What creates that quick hit of dopamine that derails your momentum? What environments pull you toward procrastination? Awareness is the beginning of freedom. Then create boundaries, real non-negotiable boundaries. Time blocks without interruptions, work sessions without notifications, spaces that signal productivity, routines that prime your brain for deep focus. Every boundary you build is a door you close to wasted time and a door you open to progress. And finally, replace distraction with direction. Humans don't eliminate behaviors, they replace them. The more meaning, purpose, and structure you build into your days, the less room distraction has to operate. When your life is aligned, distraction loses its appeal. A focused mind is a powerful mind. A protected environment is a productive environment. And a distraction-free life is a life that finally moves forward. In the next section, we uncover the truth about urgency, why acting now is the greatest advantage you will ever have. The power of urgency, why later is the most expensive word in your life. There's a silent killer of dreams, progress, confidence, and potential. And it's not fear, it's not failure, and it's not lack of opportunity. It's the word later. The illusion that you have more time. The belief that the perfect moment will come. The mindset that tells you tomorrow is a safer option than today. But later is not a delay. Later is a decision. And it's the most expensive decision you will ever make. Every time you say later, you trade momentum for comfort. You trade growth for hesitation. You trade opportunity for familiarity. And you train your brain to believe that your dreams can wait, even when your life cannot. Because here's the truth. There is no perfect moment. There is only now. Every transformation begins in a moment of urgency, not convenience. Every breakthrough begins when you stop negotiating with the clock and start using the time you have. Urgency is not panic. Urgency is intention. It's the internal fire that tells you your life matters too much to be postponed. It's the recognition that the greatest threat to your future is not that you'll fail, it's that you'll wait. Waiting kills more dreams than fear ever will. Waiting creates more regret than mistakes ever could. When you wait, life moves on without you. Opportunities move on without you. Progress moves on without you. The people who change their lives are not the ones who had ideal circumstances. They're the ones who took imperfect action at imperfect moments and refused to let time slip through their fingers. They acted before they felt ready. They moved before they felt confident. They committed before the path was clear. Urgency gave them power because urgency forced them to grow. When you adopt urgency, you stop living passively. You stop drifting. You stop tolerating situations that drain you. You stop accepting a life that doesn't challenge you. You begin to operate with a standard that says, if it matters, I move now, not tomorrow, not next week, now. This doesn't just change your productivity, it changes your identity. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to build momentum faster. You begin to experience the compound effect of consistent action. And the more you act, the more life opens. Urgency is the antidote to wasted time. Urgency is the accelerator of destiny, and urgency is the force that turns potential into reality. In the next section, we break down the life-changing power of alignment, how your environment, habits, and identity either strengthen your time or sabotage it. Your environment is the first part of alignment. You cannot grow in soil that suffocates you. You can't maintain focus in a space that's filled with distraction. You can't build a powerful future in a setting that reinforces your old patterns. If you want to stop wasting time, you must design your environment to match your intentions. Your room, your workspace, your digital world, your daily surroundings, they all shape your behavior more than motivation ever will. When your environment supports your goals, discipline feels natural. Then come your habits, the invisible architects of your destiny. You don't rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your routines. Your habits are either building the life you want or destroying it quietly. The key is to align your daily actions with your future identity. Micro actions that compound, simple behaviors repeated with consistency. Habits that don't drain your willpower but reinforce your momentum. Finally, your identity, the core of everything. You can't create a new life with an old self-image. You can't step into your potential while seeing yourself as someone who breaks promises, wastes time, or never follows through. Identity creates behavior. When you shift who you believe you are, your habits follow, your standards elevate, your boundaries strengthen, your time becomes sacred. Alignment doesn't just save time, it amplifies it, it creates clarity, it fuels confidence, it generates momentum. When everything in your life points in the same direction, progress becomes inevitable. In the next section, we tackle the silent enemy of your potential, toleration, the things you've been allowing that drain your time, energy, and greatness. Stop tolerating, cut what drains your time, energy, and potential. One of the most overlooked reasons people waste their lives is simple. They tolerate what they should not. They allow habits, people, environments, and even thoughts that drain them. They say yes when they should say no. They compromise their standards for comfort, fear, or approval. And every moment of toleration is a moment stolen from the life they could have built. Most people think toleration is harmless. It's not. Toleration is the silent thief of time, energy, and identity. Tolerating begins subtly. You tell yourself it's just this once. You rationalize it's not that bad. You compromise thinking you'll make up for it later, but later never comes, and eventually toleration becomes lifestyle. You start saying yes to mediocrity. You start letting people and situations define your schedule and your focus. You start allowing habits that sabotage progress. And one day you wake up realizing decades have passed while you were negotiating with life instead of commanding it. To stop wasting time, you must audit your tolerations. Look at every area of your life, relationships, work, routines, energy, self-talk, and identify what's draining your potential, which people constantly drain your focus, which habits steal hours disguised as comfort, which environments normalize distraction, which thoughts keep you small. Awareness is the first step. Naming the drainers gives you the power to stop them. Then comes action. Toleration is only overcome through courage. Courage to set boundaries, courage to walk away, courage to delete, unsubscribe, quit, or leave. Courage to reclaim the time and energy that you have been surrendering for far too long. It's uncomfortable, it's inconvenient, but discomfort is the price of growth. And as you eliminate toleration, something powerful happens. Clarity emerges, momentum accelerates, energy multiplies, confidence grows. You stop reacting and start creating. You realize that your time is finite, your potential is enormous, and your life is meant to be commanded, not tolerated. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the refusal to accept less than your future deserves. Stop tolerating, stop compromising, stop negotiating with mediocrity. Every moment reclaimed is a step toward the life you were born to lead. In the final section, we integrate everything: decisions, discipline, emotional mastery, focus, urgency, alignment, and elimination into a blueprint to ensure you never waste your time again. The blueprint, never waste time again. Everything we've covered: awareness of your time thieves, the power of decision, emotional mastery, discipline, focus, urgency, alignment, and eliminating tolerations comes together here. This is the moment where theory becomes action. This is the blueprint for a life where every minute works for you, not against you. And the first principle of this blueprint is simple but non-negotiable. Decide that your time matters more than anything else. Not tomorrow, not later, not when it's convenient. Now, once that decision is made, structure your life around it. Build routines that protect your hours. Create boundaries that defend your energy. Align your environment with your goals. Surround yourself with people, spaces, and systems that reinforce your focus rather than sabotage it. Every choice you make must be filtered through one lens: does this move me forward or pull me back? This is how discipline becomes effortless. When your life is designed to support your priorities, not distract from them. Next, take massive, consistent action. Stop negotiating with how you feel. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Action is the currency of time. Every step you take today compounds. Every step you skip becomes a debt to your future self. Momentum is built in the daily decisions to show up, execute, and follow through. Urgency is your accelerator. Treat each hour like it's scarce, because it is. The faster you act, the more powerful your life becomes. Emotional mastery is the glue that holds this system together. You will feel fear, doubt, and resistance. That's inevitable. What separates those who waste their lives from those who dominate them is response. You act anyway. You move forward even when your emotions scream stop. You become the person who commands your life, not the person controlled by feelings, procrastination, or comfort. Finally, audit and eliminate. Continually remove what steals your time, energy, and focus. Stop tolerating mediocrity in any form. The life you want demands vigilance. It demands uncompromising standards. It demands you fight for your minutes every single day, because lost time is lost life, and life waits for no one. When you integrate awareness, decision, discipline, focus, urgency, alignment, emotional mastery, and elimination, you create a life that works for you. You create momentum that compounds. You reclaim hours that most people surrender without noticing. You finally step into the life you were meant to live. Stop wasting your time. Act with urgency. Protect your life, and never let a single minute slip without purpose, because your destiny is waiting and it will not wait for you.